I'm a female, 34 years old, and this is my story. At around 2006, my cousin moved into an apartment with her new husband. It was only a few blocks away from where I lived with my mom at the time. My cousin went on to have a baby whilst living in the apartment, and the baby had some health problems, and it turns out he's on the spectrum and is also nonverbal. In 2014, I was looking for a place to buy and my cousin offered her apartment. She wanted to have one more kid and the apartment was too small. She made an offer that turned out to be really good for the both us. So much so that I was able to pay the apartment off directly to her within a year. I moved to the apartment in mid-2015. I decorated the place with a mix of new and thrift furniture. I had a specific look I was going for. For my bedroom, I had a century-old wardrobe professionally renovated. It was gorgeous. Everything was fine for a while. But in 2016 I started having sleep paralysis. I wouldn't see any demons like some people do, but it was a scary experience nonetheless. I also experienced lucid dreaming quite often without ever trying to, it would just happen. In 2017, I started hearing noises at night. Now here's the thing, I have 3 cats. So most noises during the night don't scare me in the least. I always think it's a cat, or multiple, acting up. The noise I was hearing was very specific. It came from a corner where the wardrobe was and it sounded like someone was snoring or breathing heavily whilst sleeping. I tried to rationalize this, but I couldn't explain that noise, and some nights it would bother me so much that I would get up and look for the source. It really felt like someone was asleep in my bedroom with me. For context, I've had the same neighbors in that apartment for many years, so it couldn't be that suddenly I could hear into their bedrooms. I did consider every possibility. I was certain the wardrobe was to blame, maybe it brought something, or someone, in. So I disassembled the wardrobe and got rid of it. Except for the base/bottom part. I decided to DIY it into a little sofa. I stopped hearing that noise at night and I was pleased. A few weird things would still happen now and then, like objects would move or break inexplicably, but the noise was gone and I'd just think this is all in my mind. In 2019, I got my 3rd cat. She was a tiny baby. I called her Gigi. All my cats were indoor cats and had always been, and so was Gigi. She had never had a life outside my apartment and yet she was extremely skittish. Everything would scare her. She would spend most of her days hiding behind things. To this day, we find it hard to explain her behavior. I guess some cats are just very anxious. Nothing weird happened in 2020 or 2021, which was good because I was isolated in the apartment by myself most of the time. Even Gigi was a little less nervous, perhaps because no one was coming and going, friends and family members. In 2022, I moved to a different country for work and my cousin, a different one, stayed at the apartment taking care of my cats. Eventually her son moved in as the apartment was close to his university, so he was living there by himself for a while. One day he told his mom that he heard a weird noise at night, like someone was snoring in the bedroom next to him. His girlfriend never heard a thing when she was over, but he was pretty sure he could hear it most nights. Some time later, he went to the bathroom in the middle of the night and saw a figure standing there. a woman with a creepy smile on her face. He pretended not to see her and walked back to bed. I honestly have no idea how he didn't run for his life. I would have LOL. Around the same time, Gigi started acting even more weird than usual. She would try hiding in high places, and by doing that, she would end up knocking things over and breaking stuff. She knocked over mirrors, picture frames, even shelving units, and my cousin's son would often find her in unusual spots in the morning, like on top of the kitchen cabinets, which were pretty high and hard to get to, even for a cat, but she seemed determined to hide from or escape something. In late 2023, I went back to my hometown to empty the apartment. I stayed there by myself, with the cats, for several weeks whilst packing up. One night I dreamt that I was in bed, just as I actually was in real life, and I lying on my side FaceTiming my boyfriend. We had our cameras on, and at one point, as I looked into my own image on the screen, I saw a woman behind me. I turned around quickly and suddenly she was above me. I had a weird thought like, there you are, I'm gonna get you. And so I grabbed her around the neck with all my strength and knocked her off to the floor. She disappeared and I woke up. It felt real. And I was kinda proud of myself. I hoped she would get the message. I went on with my day feeling pretty good. At night, I was by myself again, but I did feel a little uneasy, so I decided to close the bedroom door and sleep on the couch in the living room. At one point, I was watching something on Netflix, cats sleeping peacefully by my feet, including Gigi. Suddenly, I hear the loudest, craziest noise coming from the bedroom. It was like 1,000 pots and pans had just fallen off the shelves. It was insanely loud. My cats jumped off and hid. I walked to the bedroom. I was sure something must have fallen off the one shelving unit left in the room. But no, everything was in place. My heart was racing, my cats were scared. I was trying to rationalize the noise. Maybe it came from another apartment. Then I got a phone call from my mom. She asks if I'm okay. She had a weird feeling I might not be okay. So I tell her what happened just a minute ago, and she tells me to go to her place ASAP. I put my cats in the car, not an easy task, they were very freaked out, and left. I did go back during the day a few more times to finish packing, but never slept there again. It's been several months and I haven't rented it out or sold it yet, mainly because I feel uneasy about going back there to take photos and such. I will soon though. The funny thing is, sometimes people tell these stories and others think it's impossible you'd live very long in a place that is haunted, or seems to be, but really you just try to rationalize the best you can, and the paranormal activity happens intermittently, so it's easy to brush it off as a one-off again. Interestingly, I was clinically depressed whilst living in that apartment, and I did make a lot of bad choices back then. Nowadays, my life is not particularly simple, as I permanently live in a different country, have a partner with kids and work really hard so I can come back to visit my family often, but despite the difficulties, a cloud has definitely lifted and life is good.